This was without a doubt one of the most bonkers shows I've ever seen in my life. Like, what do you do when you're peeing next to Patrick Stewart? Yes, National Theatre interviewed me, darling, yes. Hello, darlings. Mwah. I'm Richard. Welcome to Fabaret, and if you're watching this, you're part of the Fabaret family now, or the Fab Fam. The sun is shining, it's a lovely day. Perfect morning for Fabaret. So today, my Fab Fam, I'm counting down my top 5 big London theatres. And I found it really hard to choose 5. I have managed to narrow it down, but at some point I will do a top 5 of my smaller London theatres. Because there are so many hidden gems hidden in London that lots of people don't know about. And I really want to make sure I highlight those as well. And of course, there are lots of brilliant regional theatres and theatres outside London, which are great. And at some point, I promise I'll do a video about my favourites of those as well. But for now, we're thinking about the big theatres. Fabaret is all about the fabulousness of theatre. So if that's your scene, click that subscribe button and make sure to tick the little bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. Now, I could never do these in like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown order because that would just be impossible. I got it down to 9 theatres which I really love, and then I had to cut them down to 5. It was so hard. So in no particular order, the first of my top 5 theatres, the London Palladium. So the London Palladium was built in 1910, and of course over the years it's hosted so many amazing performances and so many incredible celebrities have graced the stage there. The Palladium is one of the big players in hosting the Royal Variety performance each year. And I wanted to start with the Palladium because this is the theatre that for me has the most personal memories attached. I first went to the London Palladium in 2013. There was a London revival of A Chorus Line, and A Chorus Line is my favourite musical of all time. And let's face it, there's a lot of competition for my favourite musical. There was a theatre exhibition on at the Victoria and Albert Museum, and they had this whole wing dedicated to A Chorus Line memorabilia. And I'm not ashamed to admit, I saw a programme from the original 1975 Broadway cast, and I cried. I cried. No shame in that. I cried, yep. Then the following year, the Palladium hosted I Can't Sing, the X Factor musical. This was without a doubt one of the most bonkers shows I've ever seen in my life. The main reason I insisted on going to see it is because I'd auditioned for the X Factor the year before, and so I went to the show with my X Factor audition number on my shirt. I mean, let's face it, I Can't Sing, it was really weird, right? The main good thing that came out of I Can't Sing was Cynthia Erivo. She is a tour de force of talent, and I was so happy I got to see her live. And this was before she got really big with The Colour Purple. The London Palladium stage is also where I found out that I have made the Britain's Got Talent semi-finals. Valentine's Day 2016, I'll never forget that. Best Valentine's Day ever. I remember us all being backstage, going through the corridors, seeing the pictures on the walls of all the incredible people who performed there. And I was convinced in my head, I haven't made it, just enjoy this moment of being on the London Palladium stage. And then to find out that I'd got through. I think if you watch the video, you can see my eyes about to pop out of their head.
You'll be perfect for the royal family.
And especially the last few years, I have loved going to the London Palladium Pantomime. They only started it up a few years ago again with Cinderella, and they've also done Dick Whittington, Snow White, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. I've been to every one, and every one has starred Julian Clary. And oh, he's so fabulous, and he does so much naughty humour in it, it's great. And they've had amazing celebrities in there over the years. Diversity, Dawn French, love Dawn. Fabulous Paul O'Grady, and Paul Zerdin, who's a British ventriloquist who won America's Got Talent. And he is incredible, it's amazing to watch him on stage. There's one show I did see at the Palladium which I wasn't a fan of, and I'm really sorry to say this, but it was Wind in the Willows. There's one really nice song I like on the cast recording, A Friend Is Still a Friend. And Simon Litkin was in the cast playing Ratty. He was the standout of the show. I mean, anything that Simon Litkin does, he always stands out for me. Ooh, Simon. But he's a real talent as well. Nobody say anything bad about Simon, I love him. And also the Palladium is where me and my family went to see Cats. It was my mum's 60th birthday present, and our family's got a real special relationship with the Cats musical. It's not my favourite show of all time, but our family's got a lot of personal history with it. So lots of special memories with the Palladium, that's why it had to make the top 5 easy. Second on the top 5, the Savoy Theatre. Oh, the fabulous Savoy Theatre. They always put on such lavish productions, it's fabulous. The theatre is right next to the Savoy Savoy Hotel, and the Savoy Hotel is a very posh hotel. Whenever I've gone to the theatre, I've always been too scared to even step anywhere near the Savoy Hotel. I haven't got my designer wear on, darling, or a chauffeur, so they probably kick me out straight away, right? But the theatre is fabulous. I first went there in 2012 to see Cabaret. Will Young was starring as the MC, and Michelle Ryan, who I best know as playing Zoe Slater in EastEnders. You can't tell me what to do!
You ain't my mother! Yes, I am!
Sorry, spoiler alert for anyone there who's 20 years behind on EastEnders. 20 years since that storyline, oh my god. Anyway, so Michelle Ryan was playing Sally Bowles, and the whole performance was incredible. I had a seat very near the front of the stall, so I was right in the action. And I feel that any kind of jazzy style musical, you want to be closer to the stage. Normally most jazz style musicals feel a bit seedy and intimate, so it really affects you being nearer to the stage. So like Cabaret, Chicago, Ain't Misbehaving. And I've seen lots of other shows there over the years. Dreamgirls, Gypsy, Guys and Dolls. So the Savoy was built in 1881, it was renovated in 1929, and there was a fire at the theatre in 1990. And there was lots of talk about whether they should update the Savoy to a more modern theatre style. But they did keep the 1920s style that had been renovated originally. And I'm so glad of that. I love it when you walk into a front of house at a theatre and it feels more traditional. It feels like you step back in time when you just enter the theatre front of house. And that puts you in the mood for, oh, I'm going to enter a whole nother world when I enter the auditorium and see the stage. So yeah, I'm glad they haven't updated it. Thank you, Savoy. Number three. The Prince Edward Theatre. So firstly, Prince Edward Theatre is right in the heart of Soho, so there's lots of fabulous bars and restaurants all around it, so that's why it first gets a thumbs up. So Prince Edward Theatre, it opened in 1930, it became a dance and cabaret hall in 1935, but then during World War II, the hall was really badly damaged, and it got restored back to a theatre after the war. First show I ever saw at Prince Edward Theatre was Miss Saigon. It was the 2014 revival, and it starred Eva Maria Noblezada. She starred as Kim, and she was discovered at the 2013 Jimmy Awards in New York. I've referenced the Jimmy Awards on here before through the Broadway or Bust documentary, which is a PBS documentary on my top 5 musical documentaries video. So that documentary followed the 2012 gang. Eva was part of the 2013 gang, and it was an incredible production. I've also seen Aladdin there and Mary Poppins. It's a beautiful theatre, but the main thing that stands out for me with this theatre is the comfort of the seats. I'm 6'3", I love my legroom, and I remember I was sat in the centre of the dress circle for Miss Saigon. And throughout the show, all this really dramatic stuff was happening on stage because it's Miss Saigon. And I just kept thinking, I've got lots of lovely legroom. The chair's really comfy, this is lovely. So yeah, comfort at the Prince Edward, spot on. Before I go on, I just want to give a little honorary mention to the Regents Park Open Air Theatre. I kept going back and forth in my head so much about whether I should include this on the list. And yes, Regents Park Theatre, it is a theatre, but it's kind of a whole experience of the Regents Park Open Air Theatre. So I will do a separate video about that at some point, because it deserves its own mention. So let's get back to the main top 5. Number 4, National Theatre. So the National Theatre originally started as a company. Between 1963 to 1976, they were based at the Old Vic. And then in 1976, they moved into the National Theatre building that we know today. Let's be honest, the actual building itself isn't the most attractive thing in the world. There's concrete everywhere. Good old 70s architecture. But there have been times when I've walked past it at night on the way to the train station, and they've got the outside lit up, and it does look gorgeous at night. One thing I have to talk about here is the National Theatre gift shop. They have so many beautiful books and merchandise. You can spend so much money in there. Every time it's like, oh, I'll just look at one book, and then like 5 or 6 books later. They have so many fabulous theatre books. Just let me walk by once and have rubbish books. Please save my bank balance. Now the National Theatre, of course, they always put on very different types of shows to say your more mainstream musicals. The first show I ever saw there was in 2012. I saw London Road, which is verbatim theatre. So that's when they interview people and they quote them word for word exactly on stage. But it was so clever because it was done to music. So they had to work out all the pictures of everyone's interviews as they were talking and put it to music. It was just so clever. I don't think anyone had ever seen anything like it before. And I went to see it during my Mount View summer school experience. There was about 30 of us and it was fantastic. I'll make a video about that as well at some point. Add that to the list of videos to do. I've got so many to make. One of the gang from our Mount View group went to the loo and he realised he was peeing next to Patrick Stewart. Like, what do you do when you're peeing next to Patrick Stewart? Like, part of you is starstruck, but part of you thinks, should I look? I don't think he did look. If I was there, would I look? I don't know. You don't know what you'll do until you're in that situation. I don't think I'll ever be in a situation where I'm peeing next to Patrick Stewart, but I guess he didn't think that either. And me and a friend were interviewed by the National Theatre. Yes, National Theatre interviewed me, darling, yes. And we made their promo of audiences being interviewed about the show. Yes, little starstruck moment there. I think that was back when I didn't know what I was doing with my eyebrows. They were pencil thin, basically drawn on. I've seen National Theatre productions at other theatres, like the National Theatre tours, that kind of thing. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, One Man, Two Governors, People, Places and Things, Warhorse, the list goes on. But actually at the National Theatre, I've also seen Follies, Hadestown and Wonder.Land. Wonder.Land was the weirdest. It was kind of like an online social media version of Alice in Wonderland, which I guess in premise sounds like it might be a really interesting idea, but the whole show was so chaotic, it kept jumping from place to place. And I get it, it's Wonderland, it's meant to be crazy, but I still need to follow some kind of a story. And finally, number 5, Theatre Royal Drury Lane. This theatre is about a 60-second walk from Covent Garden, so you can go do loads of fabulous shopping in Covent Garden and then go to the Theatre Royal, sorted. Actually, I think the Savoy Theatre is pretty close by to Covent Garden as well. Theatre Royal Drury Lane dates back to 1663, which makes it the oldest theatre in London still in use. Now, the last couple of years, it's been closed for a big renovation, and they're going to be opening with Frozen the Musical. And I really hope in the same way when they restored the Savoy, I hope they haven't lost any of the traditional old-style touch of the Theatre Royal Drury Lane. There's so much history in there, you don't want to lose that. Every time I walk into that beautiful front of house building, there's carvings, paintings, even the floors are gorgeous. There's so much to look at, even without seeing a show. They do a backstage tour, so of course I had to go on that, and I loved it so much. When we went through the auditorium, the cast of 42nd Street were on stage filming a Christmas promo, and it was so exciting. It was like, oh, even when there's not a show on, there's still magic happening on the stage. The first show I saw was Shrek in 2012. The only thing I regret with that show is that I picked to see a weekend matinee, so there was screaming kids everywhere. And I was like, guys, I just want to watch this show. And it's like, yes, kids, the gum under your seat is fascinating, but your parents have paid 50 quid for you to watch this Shrek musical, so why don't you watch that? Shrek itself as a show, it has some great numbers, and then there's some bits where I'm like, what the heck is going on? I thought I'd seen more shows there, but actually I've only seen 3. So I've seen Shrek, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and 42nd Street. With Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the set alone was worth the ticket price. The music itself, yeah, but the set, wow. They were selling chocolate at the theatre, of course, and I bought a Willy Wonka chocolate bar, of course, and I've still got the chocolate wrapper stapled into my programme, and I saw 42nd Street, which was spectacular, without a doubt my favourite production I've seen so far at Theatre Royal Drury Lane. But who knows, Frozen's coming soon, that might take the top spot. Well, lovelies, that's it from me today. Thank you so much for watching. What's your favourite London theatre? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do comment below. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and when you hit that subscribe button, click the little bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. I'll be back next Theatre Thursday with another video. Bye-bye, my Fabaret family, my darling Fab fam. Mwah. Bye!